You have just stumbled upon peak, because today we're covering
Absolute Batman, Issue 3.
Now this video is going to be quite long, so kick your attention span into high gear, you freaking nerd. But with that being said, the last issue ended off with Alfred expressing that him and Bruce could help each other because he had information on the party animal's leader. So Bruce told him he had 30 seconds to convince him before revealing they were inside of the Batmobile, which is none other than a giant freaking dump truck. This issue, on the other hand, piggybacks off of last issue's flashback where Selena told Bruce to follow her after sneaking up to his bedroom window. While chasing her on the Gotham City rooftops, Bruce expressed that she was crazy and gonna get them killed because she wanted to walk across a thin cable. As stated by Selena though, it wasn't a big deal because they were only 2 stories high, so worst case scenario he'd break a leg, but if he listened to her and only paid attention to what was in front of him, he'd make it across no problem. Just as Bruce had feared though, he eventually lost his balance towards the end. Fortunately, right before he could fall, Selena was there to pull him up. The story then gives us a quick little glimpse of Jim Gordon running through Gotham Zoo while carrying Bruce after his father was killed by the public shooter, before bringing us back to present day where him and Alfred smashed their way through the city streets in the Bat dump truck. Alfred hated all the extra attention they were getting, expressing that he spent more than 4 decades cultivating a life of stealth. He had 20 passports and twice as many identities, priding himself on being a nobody whose life was spent in the shadows, only to end up driving down Broadway on the hood of a giant bat-themed dump truck, which is exactly when it occurred to him that Batman might be somebody he hates. Because the party animals were right on their tail, Alfred then asked Bruce what the hell he was doing. If he tried plowing through the city, they'd be overtaken by them in no time. So Bruce smugly remarked that he better talk fast then, because the 30 seconds he was giving him to make his case as to why they should work together was starting now. Coming within inches of being shot, Alfred went on to enlighten Bruce about rumors of someone known as the Black Mask. He was the leader of a secret paramilitary group that served some of the most powerful people on the planet, and Alfred believed his true identity was a man named Roman Sionis. After that, the party animals took things to the next level, pulling out an RPG and trying to blast it at the bat truck, only to come up short and hit a nearby building. Realizing what kind of firepower they had though, Alfred suggested they abandon their vehicle to find something faster. But proving he was always one step ahead, Bruce would do the unimaginable, transforming the Batmobile into something that we're much more used to by pushing a button that closed the Batmobile in on top of itself. Essentially sport mode. The Bat dump truck has sport mode. And with that, Bruce stepped on the gas, pulling ahead of the party animals and telling Alfred he had 20 more seconds to explain himself if he was capable of holding on. Knowing how game-changing his information was, Alfred then started begging Bruce to just hear him out, so Bruce told him to get inside and close the hatch, resulting in Alfred making himself comfortable inside of a cockpit that controlled some sort of weapon. And then after that, while blowing up the party animal's tires with many bat projectiles, he indicated that Black Mask was too dangerous to fight thanks to his endless amount of resources. Initially, Bruce wasn't intimidated by what he was being told though, stating he'd just build bigger, but according to Alfred, it'd be impossible to build big enough. On the other hand, however, he was confident that Black Mask was ready to compromise and make a deal with Bruce, because whatever he was trying to achieve with all the recent chaos was almost finished. So if Bruce just had a meeting with him and agreed to step down, he'd probably lower the attacks on Gotham to almost nothing and offer Bruce millions upon millions of dollars because he worked for some of the richest people on the planet. Now, at first, Bruce was opposed to this idea because he felt like it meant he was quitting, but Alfred saw it as saving lives through diplomacy. Curious as ever though, Bruce wanted to know why Alfred was even giving him this information in the first place. So while using a wrecking ball to smash the vehicle of some nearby party animals, he asked Pennyworth what was in it for him. And in a nutshell, Alfred was like, if this deal goes through, I'll get to leave this shithole city and go back to what I was doing before, which was tracking the Joker. But why would he get to leave? Well, because in order for Bruce to get paid in this deal, Black Mask would be required to make some very large transactions, giving Alfred's handlers enough information on him to take him down. So Alfred saw it as a win-win. He'd be permitted to leave, and Bruce would be able to build Batman bigger than ever with his newly acquired wealth. Nevertheless, after getting the party animals off their tails, they were eventually put to a stop and pinned down in between a large body of water and the entire GCPD. So Alfred Alfred pulled this lever in front of him as ordered by Bruce, completely oblivious he'd be ejected out of the vehicle into the water. And speaking of water, Bruce would then make the Batmobile go full-on submarine mode, traveling the depths of the ocean until reaching his nearest stash house. As we move forward, we're brought back to the flashback from earlier again, with Bruce asking Selena how her new foster home was. So Selena indicated that she wasn't there anymore because things got really bad. After hearing this, Bruce was heartbroken, so he suggested she come stay with him and his mom because his mom had a soft spot for her. But feeling as if she was nothing more than a burden, Selena declined his offer and suggested they switch the topic to something happier. Making their way to a nearby theater, the both of them would then sneak in through the back and begin watching a screening of Zorro. But before seeing what happens next, we come back over to present day with the Riddler showing Bruce a robot he created called Al that contained around 4/5 of all human knowledge. Upon Bruce asking Al how the party animal's ape skulls worked, it told him they had 3 main functions: protecting the wearer's identity, creating a wallet for the wearer connected to a private cryptocurrency network called Blackcoin, and providing objectives with different valuations. Now, these objectives were things like arson, robbery, and murder, each having their own value in Blackcoin, and we're talking tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars. So by completing different tasks, members of the party animals could become super wealthy super fast, which explains why they were committing crimes so frequently. After learning all of this, Bruce asked Al another question: how would someone disrupt this cryptocurrency network? Al was certain it wasn't possible though, because the network was satellite based and far too expansive. It might be possible to take out a local server, but due to there being hundreds and maybe even thousands of these masks all over the world, it'd be impossible to take down the whole thing. A few moments later, Bruce would get a call from Harvey Dent about information regarding the Arc-M fund. If you don't remember, right before being interrupted by Black Mask in the last issue, Bruce discovered a suspicious looking file named Arc-M, and so Harvey Dent looked deeper into it for him, discovering that a lot of the funding came from a company called JK Holdings, whose specialty was building highly secure private prisons. And not just any prisons, but black sites. So whatever was happening at these places was definitely bad news. After that, the story shifts its focus over to Commissioner Bullock, who for some reason was meeting up with Mayor Hill, Jim Gordon's opponent in the upcoming election. Now, Hill swore they weren't meeting up so he could win Bullock's vote, but it soon becomes very clear that that's exactly what he was trying to do. Because upon boarding a yacht, we discover that the yacht was Black Mask, who just so happened to be beating the crap out of a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And in the midst of doing so, he started talking about the current state of Gotham and how under Jim Gordon as mayor, the entire city, along with the GCPD, have struggled dealing with the party animals' outbreaks. Between them and the Batman, Bullock had a real serious problem on his hands that he needed to get under control or everything would start rapidly falling apart. So to try and get him on board with him and Mayor Hill, Black Mask offered to shower the GCPD in gifts, and by that I mean firepower. Choppers, RVs, you name it. If Harvey Bullock took their side, the GCPD would be taken care of. After that, we catch back up to Bruce, once again trying to put the pieces together. Only this time he was looking off into the distance at one of these black sites Harvey Dent was talking about. And while in the process of doing so, we get some narration from Alfred that reads, "Are your eyes open yet, Bruce? Are you starting to see the pieces? They call these black sites ARCs, secret unregulated prisons run in conjunction with other governments around the world. Arc A was the prototype, which is located in Santa Prisa. Arc B is in Russia, Arc C is in China, and the biggest one yet, Arc M, is planned for Gotham. Realize what you're up against, Bruce, and all that you could lose." Switching up on us yet again, the story jumps back over to the flashback between him and Selena, where we find out that this whole game of cat and mouse was pretty much to get Bruce to hang out with his friends again to ease the pain of losing his father. When his mom told him they were waiting outside for him in the last issue, Bruce just wanted to stay in his room, so after dragging him to the theater, they all snuck out of the shadows to surprise him, and it's just this really wholesome moment. Even his mom was there watching in the background, so I'm pretty sure she was in on the whole thing, minus Selena making Bruce walk along the cable. Speaking of his mom though, later on she was pleasantly surprised to wake up to Bruce eating a bowl of soup in her kitchen. But curious as to what the special occasion was, she asked him why he was there. So Bruce expressed that he was thinking she should lie low for a while until all the chaos with the party animals calmed down a bit. But according to Martha, the chaos was exactly why she couldn't lie low. In fact, she was stepping up as Jim Gordon's deputy mayor and on her way to the official press event right now. This of course was not something Bruce was happy about because the party animals were going after government officials, which meant now she'd have a target on her back. But whether he liked it or not, Martha was firm in her decision, stating that she wasn't just gonna sit back and watch the city collapse. After that, we get a short little glimpse of Alfred checking in on his daughter daughter who, by the looks of these scans, seems to be a teacher. It isn't exactly clear why him and his daughter's relationship is such a mess, but hopefully we find out soon. And then of course we see that Harvey Bullock did in fact fold under pressure after the whole Black Mask interaction earlier. He promised he wouldn't turn his back on Jim, but right here on the news we see Mayor Hill say he's proud to have the endorsement of Commissioner Bullock in the GCPD. So much for friendship and trust, I guess. Anyways, as this issue comes to a close, and trust me, you're gonna want to hear this, Bruce is in the midst of a phone call with Black Mask himself. A phone call regarding the little deal that Alfred was talking about earlier, where Black Mask tells Bruce, look, I'm offering you $200 million to stand down for just 1 week. Just 1 week. And after that week passes, I'll start taking it easier on little old Gotham. Think about all the good Batman could do with that kind of money. He'll be something larger than life. And to my surprise, your surprise, everyone's surprise probably, Bruce actually ends up taking the deal. But sadly, that's when this issue comes to an end. But if you want to see what happens next, let me know in the comments down below.